That's right. Welcome back, folks, to a high risk, high reward Notre Dame recruiting process edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on, you know why. That way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can get me. Call in line 312-988-15. Fighting Irish Wire every day. Go there every day. Look up what everybody says about the Irish, including yours truly. Got a couple articles up. One on the offense for spring, one on the defense for spring. Check it out. So, as you've likely heard by now, if you're watching this show in the middle of the offseason, the slowest football part of the year, you love Notre Dame, you love college football a lot. Surely you've heard by now if you're watching this show, 2023 safety recruit Brandon Hillman will not be enrolling at Notre Dame and will be playing football somewhere else very soon. I saw the Michigans after him now that he's not in the Notre Dame mix. That isn't going to help anybody feel any better, especially me. But that's the news. So let's break this down a little bit. Number one, it's another hit to the 23 recruiting class that was looking like a top 3 to 5 class for a while. Now, most services has it well below 10. Even down to around 15 in some places, if you're somebody that matters to. So that's number one. It's a big hit to that 23 class that was looking outrageously fantastic for a very long time. Still looks good, still well-rounded, but in the top, it took a big hit. Now this, it just doesn't help. Number two is safety depth is always an issue at Notre Dame. Now it's more of an issue. Safety recruiting has always been a challenge at Notre Dame, and it's a concern persistently, and it is now. So I did a call-in show on this topic Monday morning, first thing. And we got to talking about Freeman's recruiting philosophy versus Brian Kelly's at Notre Dame. And I have to note, every article, everything I've heard or read about this says that the academics are being reported as an issue. Now, I want to be very careful about where we go next. I do not know that for sure that that's a fact or whatever, but I'd be mad if I'm this kid and all these articles are saying, I couldn't get a grade high enough to get into Notre Dame. And it's making him look bad academically. Like, if that's not true, I feel bad for him. Every single bit of recruiting information on this has mentioned grades being a part of this. But I want to put it out there. I have no information to verify that 100%. So I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer, because a lot of what we got into on a call-in show has to do with the grades being a part of this. So I just want to throw that out there based on every single thing saying that. I mean, I have some comfort going down that lane, but I want to say for sure that I have no inside information on that. But let's move this forward to the difference between these two guys and the plus sides and downsides of their recruiting MO at Notre Dame. Kelly only put the full court press on recruits once he knew they were fully Notre Dame eligible. On the plus side of this, if you do it this way, you know that the guys you can get and are going for are going to be able to get in and probably get through school, and you don't have a lot of concern on that issue. So if you're putting resources and time into a guy, that it's going to be worth it and it could come to fruition and he could get into Notre Dame. The downside of doing it that Kelly way was, once he found out that the grades would clear to Notre Dame and then tried to dive into these recruitments, build solid relationships, get Notre Dame in the mix, Once that started happening, a lot of times Notre Dame was so far behind in rapport and relationship building with these top players, they had no chance to even nudge in the door and build that relationship. The comfort wasn't there, just the back and forth. The kid feeling like Notre Dame really wants him because for 2 years they've been bugging him. You didn't have that. It was Notre Dame coming in at the last minute. Oh, we love you, we love you, we love you. But the kid was probably thinking, all these other schools love me too, and they've been loving me 2 years more than you. So who are you to nudge in here and tell me you love me? They're telling me that, and they've been calling me every day for 2 years. Coming to my football games, coming to my basketball games, flirting with my parents. By the time Kelly got to that point, it was too late. Too late. That burned Kelly, especially with top-level quarterbacks. Jumping in that race when everybody that's their number one target to get a great quarterback, Kelly had Notre Dame behind in that regard in every cycle. And that is why, towards the end of Kelly, we weren't even mentioned as being in the mix for these top guys. Didn't even have the relationships to give it a chance for Notre Dame to be in the mix. So those are the upsides and downsides of how Kelly did it at Notre Dame. This also benefited Kelly in the further way. He could get out and golf, not be on the private jet as much because he didn't have as many guys to see waiting for these grades and test scores to come back. Enter Marcus. Now, this isn't a theory of me purporting and piecing together what I've seen and what has happened. Freeman stated himself. So it's not John guessing what's going on. Freeman stated himself. He's going after all the best players in the country he possibly can, as long as the grades are in the ballpark of Notre Dame admission. Work them hard, recruit them hard, work their families hard, work their high school hard, work their high school coaches hard, and hope the grades end up where they need to be through Marcus having an open dialogue with the guy about where things stand and where they need to be to get into Notre Dame being good standing. Now, the plus to doing it this way is you're casting a much wider net at more high-level players because you're approaching more guys just by the numbers. So you could cast a wider net and engage with more high-end, high-level guys. The downside is somebody can't make the grades. You gave them a scholarship. Now you're burned. That's the downside. Okay? So what you've got to end up hoping for is, as a Notre Dame fan, you got to hope Freeman wins more of these than he loses overall. And that net totality over a few years, Notre Dame gets more big-time talent doing it this way. Right? That's all you can ask for and hope for if this is how the guy recruits. Now, when I say high risk, high reward, the way I've been phrasing this, somebody in the chat, when I did the live stream and I mentioned this high risk, high reward, somebody asked sarcastically, all right, high risk, high reward. We just saw the risk because we got burned by it. When do we see the rewards, John? My answer to that, I think, is pretty clever and maybe accurate. You might already be seeing the rewards, but you don't even know it, and I don't even know it. If Marcus has made this deal with like the grades and you're getting in here kind of is, we're offering you a scholarship, but it's dependent on you keeping a grade in order, getting one up that isn't there, whatever it is. Test score got to be higher, work with the tutor, whatever it is. How do you know Marcus didn't have that discussion with 5 guys out of this class? 4 of them are fine and this one isn't. Like, in that instance, you're not going to know. So when you ask high risk, high reward, when do we see the rewards? You might be seeing them and not even know it. This could have been in play for multiple guys, and this is the only one it didn't work out for, so it comes public. But you're never going to hear about it if the other guys had this set up and the grades were fine. Then there's no need to bring it up. So as far as those rewards, you don't know it, but we might be looking at them. You don't know. Or maybe this was the only guy in that situation. I don't know that either. Overall, it's frustrating. Looking at that 23 class, what would have been, should have been, could have been, and what it ends up being, it's frustrating. I admit that. But ultimately, I think casting that wider net will pay off in the long haul, as long as casting the wider net doesn't pull Freeman away from all the other things he's got to keep in order in this program. And I don't think it will, because the guy's work ethic is untouchable. Untouchable. And I respect Freeman for the work he's putting in. Personally, I think the NIL issue in the 11th hour before signing day is a bigger issue to me than this is. I mean, you're talking the best players in the country from now on. Not only are they not free, but they're not going to be cheap either. They're not free and they're not cheap, whether they like Notre Dame, love Marcus, or what. They're not free and they're not going to be cheap. So to me, how to navigate that situation to where Notre Dame was a hostage the night before signing day to the bigger check is what it feels like. That's a bigger issue to me than this is. So I think Freeman extended an opportunity here in good faith, and it fell through, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. You know, people are getting a little out of line here, saying, John, you know, what's Freeman doing? Ignoring the administration and just offering a scholarship to anybody who wants it, not lining it up with what they need? No. Not in a million years is that what happened here. Everybody knew the dynamic. The administration has their position. And then Freeman had a talk with this guy. Here's where we at. Here's what we need you to do to honor this commitment. If not, it isn't going to work. And I'm not even necessarily blaming the kid. Maybe school's hard or a certain class is hard. I don't know the details. I'm not judging a kid saying, oh, he didn't try. I don't know. But when you're not a football factory and everybody involved cares about academics, these kind of things are not going away. Not going away. So you are in a risk, high reward dynamic with the way Freeman does this. You just got to hope he hits more times and we all get burned. So what do you all think? Let me know what you think about this. Small picture, big picture, whatever. I really feel like 23 was the baseline for Freeman to run with things in recruiting. The way it felt most natural to him is the way to set it up and run it year one when it's all your show. Now we're at the end of that year one. And now it's time for adjustment, recalibration, finding out where we're exposed, where Notre Dame's gaps are, that we're exposed in all this for a weakness, for other teams to pounce. Like, now's the time to be refining that. And it's obvious that it needs to be refined. And so I just think that first full cycle had to be a baseline, just going at it raw. And then now you look at where that worked and where it fell short and refine and revise. And I think Marcus will do that because he's smart and he's adaptable and he's open to change. So there's no way around it. It's not good news. It's super frustrating. I don't know how you totally avoid this. And so Let me know what you guys think about this high risk, high reward. Am I reading this right or am I missing something? What do you think? Let me know.